Boker Tov, we're continuing the Mishnayot Pesachim Perek, Mishna Gimel. Yesterday we spoke about if a person doesn't have the right intention when they do the shechita or different parts of the Korban Pesach. So here's something similar. Shechato shelo le'ochlav. Let's say a person did the shechita for the Korban Pesach, and then he did it for a group of people that are not going to eat it. They're old, they're sick, or they're children. So he does it for them, and that's his intention, but they're not going to eat it anyway, so it invalidates the actual shechita of Korban Pesach. The next is shelo limnuyav. By Korban Pesach, there was an interesting halacha that you're not allowed to leave over any part of the Korban Pesach. And therefore, if every person himself would bring his own Korban Pesach, he can't eat the whole animal that night. So they would have groups. They would have families, they would have groups to make sure that you're counted on this korban. So let's say a person did shechita thinking it's going to go to group A, and then group B says, "Oh, thank you for doing the shechita for our animal." Oh, I didn't have in mind for group B. I had in mind this is for group A. That invalidates the Korban Pesach. La'arelim v'latemeim, or we know unfortunately if a person is uncircumcised, then it's a bad thing. They got to be circumcised. But there was people that. There could be even people now that medically they can't be circumcised for whatever reason. So it bars them from certain things, and one of them is Korban Pesach. Or if a person was tameh, they can't partake in Korban Pesach. That's why there's Pesach Sheni. So let's say a person does shechita, so I'm going to do the shechita of the Korban Pesach for this group, but that group was a group of people that were tameh, or a group that was arelim, so then it's also pasul. But if, let's say, he does shechita for the Korban Pesach for a group that has a mixture, le'ochlav v'shelo le'ochlav, a mixture of people that are going to eat the Korban Pesach, and there's also some old people there that can't eat the Korban Pesach. Limnuyav v'shelo limnuyav. Not that they can't because they're old, but because they're old, they just can't for whatever reason, sick, old. Limnuyav v'shelo limnuyav. Or he does the shechita of the Korban Pesach for this group, but in this group of people, there's a mixture, and some of those people really belong to a different group. But some, he had the intention for the right group. Lamulim v'la'arelim. Or he says, okay, I'm going to do it for this group. He doesn't realize that there's some people in that group that are not circumcised, but some of them are. So it's a mixture. L'temeim v'la'tehorim. Or he says, okay, I'm going to do the shechita of the Korban Pesach for this group, and some of them are tameh, but some of them are tahor. Kasher. The Korban Pesach is still kasher to go to the people that, of course, are able to eat the Korban Pesach. Shechato kodem chatzot pasul. If you do the shechita before midday, it makes the shechita of the Korban Pesach pasul. Mishum shene'emar ben ha'arbaim. It's supposed to be in the afternoon. And we learned yesterday that before, or it was yesterday or the day before, we said chatzot is midday. Really, a minute after chatzot, and that's what we see from here, is technically called afternoon. A minute after midday is considered already ben ha'arbaim. That's why it says if you do the shechita before chatzot, it makes it invalid. We said the earliest time a person would be able to do the shechita of Korban Pesach was on an Erev Shabbat, if it came out on Erev Shabbat, at midday plus a half an hour. We said that the half an hour added was just to make sure midday passed. Because if it's a minute after, I don't know, especially back in the day, the sundial, etc. So a minute after, it was very hard to decipher. But a half an hour, they knew half an hour after midday, was for sure after midday. And that's why that's the earliest time we able to do mincha, is midday plus a half an hour. But technically, midday plus a minute, then it actually does work. Worst case scenario for Korban Pesach. Shechato kodem letamid kasher. If, let's say, we said that the Korban Tamid usually is the last Korban, and then, but the exception is Korban Pesach goes after the Korban Tamid. But let's say you did the Shechita before the Korban Tamid. It's kosher as long as ubilvad sheyeh echad memares bedamo ad sheyizarek dama tamid. That, let's say a person does Shechita of Korban Pesach, and he does it before the Korban Tamid. It's supposed to be after. So the Kohanim say, hey, the Korban Tamid wasn't offered yet. Why are you doing Shechita Korban Pesach? So, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. So what do they tell him? They tell him, you know what, keep on mixing the blood, because he has to catch the blood from the neck in a basin, and they have to sprinkle that blood. But keep on stirring that blood so it doesn't get congealed. And then we're going to do the Shechita of Korban Tamid. we're going to sprinkle its blood, and then you sprinkle the blood of the Korban Pesach. So as long as you're able to continue to mix it and make sure the blood doesn't congeal, it's okay. But even so, ve'im nizrak kasher, even if the guy did everything, did the shechita of Korban Pesach, got the blood, then he sprinkled it. And they're like, hey, we didn't do the Korban Tamid yet, you're out of order. Nevertheless, it's still kasher, provided it's after Chatzot, it's all kasher, even if the order of the Tamid was the wrong order. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen. V'yichananiah, v'nak Hashem v'ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'zakot, et Yisrael leficha chiv ba'alehem Torah u'mitzvot shene'emar Adonai chayfetz man tzidko, yagdil Torah ve'yadir.